In the meantime, the Nigerian Customs Service has suspended the sale of seized food items over a stampede that claimed lives at the agency's old zonal headquarters in the Yaba area of Lagos State last Friday. A spokesperson for the Customs, Abdullahi Maiwada, made the announcement in a statement on Monday. The Customs had on February 20th said that it would dispose seized food items to cushion the hardship and costs of living in the country. The spokesman said the disposal of the food items got off to a smooth start as they gave preferences to the elderly, people living with disabilities, pregnant women, and other vulnerable Nigerians who showed up at the exercise until unforeseen challenges arose when they ran out of stock and announced that the continuation of the exercise will be the following day, leading to the stampede. But this was an unfortunate incident, Ayo. Before I come to you, in another development, the president of the Senate, AKPABIO, is said to have apologized to the state governors over his comment on the 30 billion naira hardship allowance allegedly given to them. AKPABIO had at plenary sitting last Tuesday during deliberations on the ways and means collected from the Central Bank of Nigeria by the previous administration, said that an unverified report indicated that state governors received 30 billion naira each from the Federation account to cushion the effect of inflation and the high cost of food prices. Some state governors, like Seyi Makinde of your state, refuted the claim. The question now is, who has that 30 billion? Where is that 30 billion?
That's a big question. But let me go back to the first story,
yes.
The customs. So what happened after the government gave a directive that seized food items that were still in good condition and wouldn't harm Nigerians should be sold at a subsidized rate. So they sold 25 kg at 10,000 naira, 50 kg at 20,000 naira. I have a friend who was an eyewitness at the Yaba Center, and I didn't even know that it was going to be a death. So while she was there, she was given updates saying that she'd never seen such a mammoth crowd. She mentioned that when they got there, they were asked to wait, and after a while, a form was given to them, which they had to fill. But after a while, it got quite rowdy, and soldiers were seen beating, they were flogging some of the people who had come in. And then following that, like the report mentioned, they didn't go ahead giving out anymore. So my take on this is, she said in her description, I've never seen such a mammoth crowd like this. People are hungry. Number one is perhaps we don't have a full grasp of how bad the situation is for people, such that a mammoth crowd on hearing that there's an opportunity like this would turn out en masse. That's one. So a lack of recognition of the real issues would then lead to things like improper planning, where you do not have enough, you don't have enough things in place to ensure that when you have a crowd like this, in order to avoid a stampede, there are measures to be put in place. Like when you go to stadiums for concerts, there are crowd control policemen and women, and there are measures like this put in place. So there was no understanding of this. There was no risk assessment done as to what would happen in the event that this happened. And so these are some of the challenges that we have, where good ideas, good measures, good things like this turn bad for lack of proper planning. We've seen that happen again and again, and unfortunately it's becoming quite synonymous with this administration. So they need to check that. This is the first time, one of the few times we're having a special advisor on policy coordination, and just to check that when decisions are made, it is properly assessed, there's a risk assessment done, and that we don't have to lose lives to drive a message home. Well, very sad thing, that incident that happened.
It was unfortunate. It didn't need to happen.
It didn't need to.
Dr. Abati, I wouldn't take our final story in Kenya, which is about William Ruto's daughter. We'll take that tomorrow so you can discuss fully on that. But I'd like your comment on AKPABIO's
very quick
apology.
Yes, the Senate President has apologized, but the problem here is about the high office that he occupies.
Right.
Now, the Senate President of Nigeria cannot afford to engage in beer parlor talk.
I've never seen anything like this.
Because when he made that statement last week Tuesday, he was saying unverified reports. Now, the President of the Senate of the Federal Republic and Chairman of the National Assembly cannot be reporting rumor from his chair as Chairman of the Senate of the National Assembly. And it's just as well that Governor Makinde waded in and said nobody gave them any 30 billion. What they got last September was 2 billion out of the 5 billion loan that the federal government had promised to give the states. And Senator AKPABIO should desist from this kind of conduct, because this was how he said the federal government didn't know what to charge Emefiele for, that they were looking for what to charge him with. No, that position should not be a seat for beer parlor talk, because it's a very serious position and seat, and that's why senators are called distinguished.
Absolutely.
And the Senate President should set a good example.
Very well said, Dr. Abad. I'd like to thank you all for your great analysis. As always on What's Trending.